Everybody on YouTube is just making money, money, money. Rich, rich, rich all the time. Just big profits, 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 profits. But no one's talking about the losses. I'm going to talk about how I lost $500. I lost $500 doing something that I shouldn't have done. Talking about it here in this video, the breakdown, the emotion, the idea behind the trade, how I lost $500. I'm breaking it all down right here in this video, so make sure you guys stay tuned. All right, guys, so you can see my losses this morning. Losing $97, $89, $83, $71, $68, and $57 there on those contracts. All right, so now you can see the chart I got pulled up. This morning, Bitcoin bounced off of this area here, this 18,800 area. And I was thinking, like, if this thing gets going again, like if it gets going and it wants to party, this might be a dip buy for a push to get a breakout over these kind of like downward trend that we're in. And as you can see, we pretty much got that as well, because we went from, like, we'll say like that, like breaking out. So I was watching for the breakout of this trend here. And as I'm watching for that, you can see it did end up breaking to the upside. Now, I ended up not getting in long at that point, just because I felt like I kind of missed out on this little reclaim of the EMA. And then I knew that we had this resistance up here at the 19,200 area, which is pretty clear to see. 19,200 resistance there. And draw us a little bit better. So you can see that resistance there, 19,200. Perfectly fine. Makes sense, right? So we got that little bounce off of that 18,800 area. We rallied up there to 19,200. So at that point, seeing that we break above this resistance there at the 19,200 area, I started to then get long, thinking that this was going to push up there, I don't know, 19,300, 19,400, and maybe, really start to go at that point, which, everything kind of lined up. You can see you got the MACD. Everything was lining up. Everything looked good. Everything looked pretty. So at that point, what did I do? I just started buying the dips. Seeing that we had the EMA here. We got the EMA on the chart there. You see how this candle here got overextended. It pulls back and then rallies. But really, I just started kind of, I don't know, I'd call it FOMO at that point more than anything. So I started getting FOMO. And, well, guess what? The market then decided to go back down and go lower. So after we broke above that resistance, we got a trap. We got a bull trap there. And the market then moved lower. And as you can see, we then started to then bounce off of this 19,100 area. And I thought to myself, okay, that's natural. It's totally natural that this thing, rallies up there, pulls back. And I'm looking at it like at this point, we're going to then rally to the upside back above 19,200. But instead, we got this big drop here. And that should have been telling to me. It should have been obviously telling to see, red, 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 red. And then just kind of, I don't know. I guess, in the moment, it's obviously in every moment. In the moment, it really looked like, hey, we're finding support at this previous resistance area there at 19,100. We're finding support there. So it's going to be, we're going to then rally back up here. So we're going to go from like 19,100 back up 19,200 and then start to step higher. But really, when you look at the bigger picture here, this is where I went wrong. Look at the bigger picture. Pretty much we're just in this big channel right now. That's pretty much what's going on, right? We just got this big channel. Yeah, it's just a big channel at this point. So on the 15-minute chart, it looks much different than the 5-minute chart, because on the 15-minute chart, you can see the overall, bigger picture here this morning, kind of bouncing off of that level, rallying up there. This morning, kind of bouncing off that level and then rallying up there. But what did we not see when we were looking at this earlier? What did we not see? Really, we didn't see that price action on the 15-minute chart where this is like ding, 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 and then gets denied there at that 19,300 area, which was resistance the other day. You can see we had multiple touches there at the 19,200 area for the last few days. So looking at the bigger picture here, you can see how this price action has just been moving inside of that channel there. And that should have been I wouldn't say a red flag, but that should have been an indicator for me to stay away from it until the market makes a move. If you look at the bigger picture again, you look at the hourly chart here, again, what do we see? We see this channel. So the idea that I went long at the top of this channel, number one, big fail, big major fail. Obviously, I thought that this was going to push and want to make a rally back up there towards the 20,000 area. And, after we got multiple touches down here to the 18,400 area, it seemed like, hey, this is the moment, right? This is the moment. No matter what you do, if you're entering a trade, you're exiting a trade, whatever you're doing, you're never going to be perfectly right. If you place a trade, that's just what you've got to live with that. You got to live with the fact that this is the trade that you're making and this is what you're going for, right? That's trading. You have to live with the fact that you're entering a trade and you got to possibly be wrong. That's just how it goes. There's going to be a chance that you're wrong, right? There's always, I guess, that chance that you're wrong. But this is really but clearly you can see, number one, my biggest mistake really for me was I wasn't looking at the bigger picture. I wasn't focused on the fact that Bitcoin really just got up to an all-time high. This is obviously like major resistance, this $20,000 area, major resistance there. Did I really need to try to get in long here? Did I really need to get in long seeing that there's all this resistance in this area here? Probably not. Best case scenario, I probably, should have gotten short there. Again, it's always in hindsight. It's easy to say these things in hindsight, but it's pretty clear that I ended up getting long at an area of clear resistance. I ended up getting long at the top of this channel here. This is the channel, and I ended up getting long up there. So to see that this pulled back, well, it's not rocket science, right? This is not rocket science at this point, because obviously it pulled back and went lower back to the bottom of this channel. The lesson here is, number one, look at the bigger picture. Number two, understand how the market moves. The market's going to move in these waves. You can see how even after this big sell-off from the $20,000 area, it then pushes back up almost to, I'd say, 50% of that move, maybe a little bit more. And then again, kind of pulls back, retests that previous support area, and then kind of just gets stuck inside this channel here. As of right now, if you can move these lines around, but I kind of would put it like there. I don't really always love putting I don't always like putting my support and my resistance at the wicks exactly. I'm looking more for where the bodies of those candles were, and you can see the bodies of these candles really kind of down there at the 18,400 area, and that kind of being the obvious support. And again, you can see the tops of these candles being that 19,200 area being support, resistance, right? The bodies of these candles getting stuck there. You can see we had a little bit of the wicks, but that's where the fake out comes. That's either the bull trap or the bear trap. This move below this 18,500 area was an obvious bear trap. Because why? You can see we had all of that selling pressure coming in there on this candle. The next candle then dips below that, almost down to the $18,000 area, and then pushes back up, rallies back up there. And here we are in the middle of this channel that was formed the past, 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever you want to call it. My thought process this morning was just, I was trying to anticipate what was going to happen. And I think that's probably one of the biggest flaws that you can make with day trading, is trying to anticipate which way the market's going to move instead of waiting for that real clear indicator like, hey, this is looking like it wants to go, right? This is looking like it wants to go. Especially, let's look at this as well. You can see we got these three candles here. 1, 2, 3, fourth candle. It's green, green, green. The bottom of these candles, off that bottom of that channel, wicks. But then it's like green, green, green. We should expect, naturally just a pullback after going, ding, 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 green, green, green for 3 hours straight. I should have expected a pullback at that point. Because if you look at the chart, it's, very, very often do we get, 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 4 candles, maybe, 3 candles on the hourly chart that are green like that without those pullbacks. I had one example here, which is 4 candles, but still you can see that fourth candle. So it's like the first, second, and third candle being the strongest, and then that, the third or fourth candle really kind of being the decision maker at that point. And there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth candle being the decision maker there and pulling back, getting off of the EMA there on the hourly chart. You can see really every time Bitcoin makes a move to the upside, guess what we do first? Pretty much every single time Bitcoin makes a move to the upside, what's it do? It pulls back to that EMA. It just once it gets overextended from that moving average, it pulls back. Same thing to the downside. If the market's moving to the downside, what do we get? Again, it's not a coincidence, It pulls back, gets really oversold, and then guess what? It bounces back, touches the EMA again, and then turns the EMA into resistance there and pulls back lower. So you got to ask yourself when you're entering a trade, are we overextended off the EMA? Are we oversold off the EMA? Am I getting short knowing that I'm far away from the EMA? Like if I'm getting short, down here, I better be careful because I know what's going to happen. It's going to snap back to that EMA at some point. And I think, you just got to be focused. Again, small losers, not a big deal. We lost $500 a day. At that point, I'm like, all right, I'm done. I'm just going to walk away. I'm going to recoup. I'm going to kind of figure out what I did wrong. Now I know I did wrong. And obviously, like I always say, in hindsight, it's always 20/20. It's easy to look at this now and be like, oh, I could have done this, could have done that. But it's just like, let's look back and see exactly what I did wrong and where I went wrong. And I think at the end of the day, the issue here for me really was just trying to get long at the top of that channel without like a real clear indicator saying like, hey, this is really going at this point. So looking at the bigger picture, it's key. Making sure that you're not shorting into support, making sure that you're not buying into resistance, and then just asking yourself, hey, it's like green. Well, there's probably going to be a little bit of a pullback at some point. The issue too here was at one point I was up like $100. I was up like $100 because we did get a little push. We got a little push there. I was up, but I was just not really, I don't know. I guess my issue right now is I keep trying to get these home run trades, and I'm trying to get these $1,000 trades where sometimes when the market's just not moving, when the market's not volatile, when the market doesn't have a clear direction, you got to also adjust yourself and you got to be like, hey, these candles are only moving $100 at a time, maybe $50 at a time. So I need to be a little bit quicker to take profit, a little bit, more patient in general, wait for the right setup, wait for the right entries. And again, patience. It really comes down to just waiting and watching and really waiting for that clear indicator. Like the other day when we got stuck there, double top at that 19,800 area. That's a clear indicator. Like, hey, if this thing starts to sell, it might be a good idea to get short. And you can see that's the type of move that we're looking for. We're looking for bigger moves. These are hourly candles. This candle went from 19,400 down there to 18,500. When we start getting these little choppy, little ding, 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 little dinky candles, gonna stay away, Patrick. We're gonna stay away. We're waiting for only the best opportunities. No more of this trying to trade the chop. It ain't doing it. If it's in a channel, if Bitcoin's in a channel, I'm staying away from it. I'm not trying to do anything silly at that point. So there it is. If you guys haven't already, do me one favor, hit that like button, subscribe button, all the buttons down below. I'll talk to you guys later on.